second. It'll pop up.
Yeah, you got to give it a second. So.
There you go. You got it.
It's on? Okay, cool. All right. Are you seeing this? Because I'm not seeing it.
I'm not seeing it just yet. I gotta figure out where you are. So
there it is. Okay.
I gotta go into
I see it now.
your Cryptid Paranormal.
Yep.
And it should be broadcasting to that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I see it. I'm there.
I gotta go to the page till it gets on there. Okay. Cool.
I am there.
All right, man. All right. Good deal. Good deal. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom with Carlito and Tom. Still for whoever's wondering. Until me and Tom work that out later as his channel progresses, which is, I think it's going really, really good. Okay, guys. Well, tonight I have a special guest here, a very, very knowledgeable person. I spoke to him the other day. We did a little preview interview, and I just love the way he expresses himself. I think he's really intelligent, and you know, we got on that level, you know, with very open-minded topics. So my guest tonight is Bryan Bowden. Hey, Bryan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Good.
Looking forward to it.
All righty.
I'll talk good stuff about everybody. So I'm happy that this group is on that good vibe right there.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like even Tom, that, you know, he just recently started his new group and his new, you know, show. Because, you know, his schedule thing, you know, that's a big part of why, you know, he started doing his own thing, because of, you know, his schedule.
And it works, you know, like I know Tom as well, and what I always suggest to you and Tom, and I think I suggest to him, is, you know, everybody's entitled to do your thing, and then I think you guys should do something once a month, like a monthly wrap up of from both angles, and see, like, oh, dude, you got to have this guy on, or, you know, do this or that. So I think it would be great, because everybody's getting 3 shows instead of, you know, 1 show. Yeah. So it works out really, really well.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, because now we got, you know, more shows going, and, you know, that's just more how do you say, more content, right, for the listeners and the viewers, and you know, and yeah. And I always state that, you know, me and Tom are still really good friends, you know, even though he's doing his thing now, whatever. But, you know, he just branched off, and we support each other. I go to his shows, he goes to my shows. You know, it's all good. You know what I mean?
I noticed that. You know, I watch you guys. You know, some of the shows that you have, and you both are in each other's shows. You're all, you know, supporting each other. Yeah. You know, good comments, good questions. Look, this is the problem in this whole thing. This whole, I don't know what's going on. I think people take some crazy pills, but you know, seriously, people have just gone nuts. You know, like, between, if you're friends with someone and you can't be friends with this person and can't do this by yourself, and look, everybody can do what they do. Just support everybody. You know, I have a ton of different friends. You would hope that they would all get along, but they don't all mesh. You know, but and some of them are not liked by others. And the thing is, I have a different relationship with them, and I'm not going to, you know, quantify or I don't, you know, answer to other people. If you don't like my friends, that's fine. You don't have to hang out with them. But you know what? You don't know my relationship with these people, but I'm not going to not hang out with you because you're hanging out with X, Y, and Z. It just doesn't work that way. I mean, we got a lot of 4th grade, you know, kindergarten stuff going on. Yeah. People get mad at people and starting drama, and I'm like, I'm done. I told you, like, you know, in the thing, I said, I don't get involved in that East Coast, West Coast paranormal crap, you know? Yeah. You may be friends with people I don't personally like for whatever reason, but I don't not like you because you're friends with them. Right, you know, exactly. It's you know, learn to be an adult. We can agree to disagree. And there's a lot of that in this field, too. Exactly. You know? You get that a lot. So it's, you know, it is what it is. That's I think that's the adult way of handling things. You know, not everybody's going to agree with you, or who you know, or who you hang out with, or who you know. Not everybody's going to agree with that. So I mean, you know, what I say is just respect every person's you know,
wishes or decisions. You know what I mean?
And that's what I do. I mean, like, look, Al and I have been buddies for we're
forever.
Yeah, we're like brothers, and I'll tell you, he's hung out with a couple of people that just gave me the like a bad vibe or whatever. That's his gig, But I don't say like you can't hang out with him. I mean, like, I'm not his mother and I'm not his father and definitely not his wife. It's just like this is what happens in this field. That's basically it. So deal with it. Grow up, deal with it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right, man. Absolutely right. We can't feed the drama and somebody says something. Oh, I gotta go and talk to that person. I gotta go and bitch him out. I gotta go and tell him what I no, dude. Just, it's whatever somebody said. That's just hearsay. It's just let it go.
Give me an example, right? So you're in all the you get, not only do you have your group with cryptids and paranormal, but you've been in other groups, right?
Yes.
So someone posts a picture, and in the picture, there's nothing there. You don't see what the heck they're talking about or whatever, or it's blob or whatever. And someone says, "Dude, that's a Bigfoot with a baby," and you're looking at it, you're like, no, and you don't come back like, "Oh, that's stupid." You can't see anything. It's blob, right? You come back with a nice comment saying, like, "I'm not. Can you point me out? Point out the area where this baby and Bigfoot is?" And then you look at it and you're like, "No, dude, that's pareidolia. That's a deception of that's your brain trying to make a mess into something." And then they get mad at you. "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If you can't take the criticism, then don't ask the question. Don't post the item.
Right.
I kind of speaking of buddies and Al, he kind of got himself in a couple little like tiffs with people that were giving him shit about something, and I'm like, who you have a problem with now? And he shows me this stuff. What do you see here? And I'm like, I see Patty. No, they're saying it is. She's holding a baby, and it's a baby and a mother. And I'm like, oh God, please. No, it's not. There's no baby, and they did a high def version of that Giblin film and Patterson Giblin, and there's no baby in it. I'm sorry, folks. And then,
in the Patty film?
Yeah, that is the holy grail of
it is. It is.
And I hope to get Bob on my show soon because we're in the same quarter 13 agency. But the problem with Bob is as he's gotten older, his hearing is really bad.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to be difficult to do it over. It has to be in person. So hope I get a chance to get out to Seattle area or whatever, and hook up and meet him and just talk about his film and that adventure. I mean, I know he's probably talked about it 1,000 times, but it is a significant film. And speak of the devil.
Yeah, there he is.
Someone came into the room. The Telly Savalas of Paranormal is in the room.
The Godfather.
I love you, baby.
It's the Godfather himself.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, man, yeah. I see a couple of people join. Anthony, Metcalf.
What's up, Anthony?
Cool. Nice to have you guys here, man. Yes. Yep. Anthony, what's up, brother? Yeah, man. I was listening to a couple of shows on YouTube, because I like to do my homework on people that I interview. So, I went on YouTube and I typed in your name, and sure enough, a bunch of videos came up and interviews and all kinds of stuff, right?
Came up.
Yeah. I seen one with you and Al in there too.
Oh yeah, we did it. It's funny. We did a lot of interviews where the host of the show just sat back and just let us.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And the funniest thing is that Al will confirm this 100%. We always have people going, "Hey, the show may be 2 hours. Can you do 2 hours?" And we look at them like, That's
Yeah.
an appetizer. What do you think? You got only 2?
Yeah. For you and Al. Oh yeah, man.
Only 2 hours.
Man, hey, you know what? Actually, I would like to, like, later on, Brian, if it's okay with you, I would like to have you and Al at the same time.
Bring them on. I think
yeah.
Bring them on.
You hear that, Al?
Al's shy.
You hear that, Al? It's gonna be both y'all, man. I want to hear that.
Yeah, just so you know, if I turn to this direction I'm turning right now, I have a tablet there, so I can actually kind of see. I just want to let everybody know. I can see comments that are coming up for the most part. I'm gonna try to, it's not that I'm looking away or somebody's gonna come in and try to kill me. Al's in, he says, but I just want to be able to see comments when they come up.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's the way I do too. I look at my phone over here to see all the comments, so it won't, like, I don't have to be looking all up and down on my computer, because it's kind of frustrating to do that. Kind of confusing.
It's really frustrating. I mean, it's kind of hard to, like, if in my perfect world and a perfect setup. See, I have my stuff on a tripod right now in front of me, and I have a light that's there, so I can light myself up and look pert for everybody. I say that in jest, but I would put the tablet just below it so I can see it.
So you can just kind of look straight up and down.
So I can see it, but I don't have the perfect setup. I'm doing the best I can with what I got. So.
Well, I used to have that help with Tom, man. I kind of missed that a little bit, man, because
I'll tell you,
he would help me. He would help me with the questions or the comments on whatever while I was with the interviewee. You know what I mean? Yeah. And now I got to do everything myself. I got to be with the interview, pay attention, ask questions, and at the same time look at my phone to see all the people who were there. Yeah.
And I totally hear you. When I started the Beyond the Realm show with Al and our psychic Cindy, it was great because there was 3 different perspectives coming at you. Each one, like Al is very big on, he'll write down his questions, so he knows exactly what he wants to ask, and I'm a little bit more off the cuff, and Cindy was just, Cindy, I can't explain her. She's great, So it worked out when there's 3 people, someone could like talk while you like, oh God, I'm tired, I want to stop, because sometimes it gets frustrating. Before this live streaming stuff, it could have taken, hours, days, to get things done, I'm doing the best I can with what I got.
Right. And you see another thing, Brian, too, which you probably know, I'm always calling you, hey, Brian, how'd I do this? Hey, Brian, can you help me with that? You know what I mean? Because we're fairly new. We're fairly new to this, you know what I mean? Like, you and Al, y'all been for, like, I don't know how many years. Y'all had y'all's own programs. Y'all had y'all's own show. Y'all been there, done that, right? Yeah. So, y'all know all the tricks and stuff to all this, gadgets and stuff technology, And, we don't.
We used to use Skype a lot, and you do a pre-record on Skype because we weren't live streaming to anything.
Right.
So what's great about that is, I can edit that out. I can edit that out. And I never edited content. I just edited my kids screaming or some really weird stuff, and that was fine. But with the live streaming, one of the reasons why I switched to live streaming is because I want interaction with people when when I bring a guest on my show. I want interaction from the audience. I want people to ask questions. I wish I had the ability to ask questions of the people I remember seeing before, technology, like In Search of It and stuff. Like, I'd love to have asked Stanton Freeman a couple of questions. I'd love to ask, Patterson and Giblin some questions. And with live streaming now, you can do it. So, I'm friends with a bunch of these guys that I kind of, I wouldn't say idolize, but these were the big players back when growing up. And I'm actually friends. I can, message them anytime I want. Hey, what about, whatever. Which is kind of cool. That's the best side of this. When you start meeting people, I'm not really big on celebrity. I don't care if you're famous or, there's only one celebrity I would probably just be babbling, and he's a musician and he was a Beatle. But other than that, I've met a lot of these people. and it's just nice just to have a civil conversation about things. You know, I met Travis Walton, right? Fire in the Sky, the whole thing.
Yeah, I love that.
One hell of a great human being. You know, this guy went through hell and back, and the people took the story and they bastardized it, and they you know, they really didn't do it the right justice. So he had to write another one and do another version of it so it can be told correctly. And this is a guy that lost everything, basically, and no one believed him, and there was a lot of fighting and problems. And I said to him, I said, you know what, I really appreciate you, not for this harrowing experience, because I remember when I heard about it, but the adversity, what you had to go through, how you've, you know, risen above it, and you've really, like the phoenix, have come out. And he was just very receptive. He said, I appreciate that, because most of the time people don't, you know, they just ask stupid questions. And I was like, look, I appreciate you as a person. And it was really nice having a conversation with him, you know. That's great when you get to do that stuff. And there's some people I've talked to as well that are, I don't know, what they call them, para-celebrities, or people in the news. And although I respect more so the people that jump out into the field than these authors that are coming out and, you know, saying that they're the creme de la creme of everything, you know. There's some people in the field, and I'm not a name dropper, and I'm not going to mention names, but there's a lot of people to be worried about, and watch your ass. You watch your ass with these people, because they ain't nice. They're lying a lot, and it's all about whatever this is.
Right, about the
if
money.
If you think you're going to get rich in the paranormal,
oh no,
you better have a Bigfoot in your backyard that you tie up someplace. You're gonna get rich on it.
Yeah. Hey, Bryan, I've been meaning to ask you this for a very long time, man.
Yes.
One time, Al showed me a picture of you, and I said, wow, that's you when you were young, Al? And he's like, no, man, that's my buddy. I'm like, what? Really? Like, man, y'all look very much alike, bro. I mean, I hope you don't take that, you or Al get offended by that, but no, y'all look very much alike, man. I think you look like a younger version of Al. That's how that's how I seen it.
Yo, he just called you old, Al.
Yeah, I see that.
You know what? It's really funny. I think sometimes when you're hanging out with these people long enough, and you become like, you know, some people have actually thought we were, you know, we're cousins or brothers or whatever it is.
Yeah, y'all look very much alike.
There was
family related, in other words. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I don't know. I mean, like, I was never, like, I've seen the old pictures of Al when he actually had hair, and it wasn't gray when it was. You know, he's one of those guys that, like, you know, very, you know, he's Mr. Italian and you know, ladies guy and the whole thing. And I was always, you know, the heavy guy, the fat kid for the most part. But I had the jokes and stuff, so I got him on a different angle. But yeah, no, I've had somebody tell us that Al and I look like Goombas, like we're the mafia.
Yeah.
And
I remember weird. Tom mentioning that all the time. Al Goomba, Al Goomba.
Yeah, Goomba. I mean, there was a couple of times Al and I have walked into places and people just cut out because they thought we were cops or somebody.
Really?
They got quiet, and I never got that cop vibe, but I sat down one place and this guy just immediately was like, yo, 5-0, let's go. You know, and I was like, I ain't 5-0.
Yeah, or so, mafia, right? Or cool. Mafia guys. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? In that too, I was gonna say, are you Italian? Because you look Italian as well.
No.
I know Al's Italian, but I don't know if you're Italian.
Al's very Italian.
Yeah.
No, I'm not Italian.
Yeah.
Although I love almost everything Italian: clothing, food, cars.
Yeah, me too.
And my kryptonite is Italian women, or you know, in that Latin side of the fence right there, which you know hits the Spanish aspect of it too. That's like kryptonite for me. But no, I never. You know, I'm not Italian. I'm actually technically I'm Native American because I'm born in this country. So I can go as Native American, although I think my grandmother on my father's side had a little bit of real Native American in her. And that's it, you know. Like most people in the U.S., a mutt, you know. a little bit here, a little bit there, you know.
But you look Italian, man. Like well, your eyes, your nose. Your hair.
This is not my real nose. This is my best friend on the planet. We worked at a summer camp, sleepaway summer camp. I came back drunk one night, and I was messing around with him. He's like, "Dude, I'm gonna punch you in the face," and I didn't believe me. He punched me in the face. He broke my nose. So wow. I can bring out my little one, and she has my nose. I'm like, that was my nose. Let me see it. Oh yeah, that looked nice. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not like Mr. Tough Guy or anything like that. But for some reason, it's odd. It's really weird. But this is the plus about Al and I. You know, when Al and I, it's really, really funny. We did an investigation. We were up in Pine Bush, New York, and we were going to do an investigation after the Pine Bush UFO Festival. It was, I think, the first year we were there. And there was an abandoned house on Main Street. It was owned by the guy that owned the Cup and Saucer Dino, great guy. He doesn't own it anymore, but he gave us permission to go in there after the UFO conference, and we went up there like a day before, and we were allowed to walk through the place because Al and I like to. If I can't do it, Al will do it. If Al can do it, I'll do it. We always like to do a baseline on the property before we get in there, so we know what we can go into, what we can't, what we have to keep hit. There's a couple of spots on the floor you can fall through, right? And both of us, without saying it to each other, we walked in this place, and we both felt there's something there, but this thing, and we went separate ways, right? He went one way, I went another way, and it's as if this thing was like, holy crap. These guys I am not messing with, and they couldn't get away from us fast enough. And we were fine. It would get closer, and then it would run away again. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like if you have a dog, and you're like sit, and it doesn't do it. But when an alpha comes in, like a dog trainer, it's like sit, and the thing sits down.
Right.
It does everything. So
why do you think that happens though? Why do you think that happens?
It's the same thing with everything else in relationship to animals. We can't technically smell it or taste it or feel it, but what everybody has is an aura around their body. Some people can actually see it. I've been working on trying to look, find it, and I can see it in certain people. I see certain colors and stuff. But other animals, they not only get the aura, the energy you're producing from it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Or negative, right?
You can feel it. You can feel that.
You can definitely feel it. And depending on how you are during the day, whether you know it or not, you may be giving off a certain vibe, right? But these animals and even cryptids and ghosts can sense your energy field and your aura. They can see it, and they can see who's like an easy target. Like, ooh, that guy is a little bit nervous right there. His energy, his aura is really weak. I'm going to go there. I'm going to suck him dry, and I'm going to take him over. And I'm going to attach myself to him. And that's what it is. It's just you give off a scent and a smell.
And they can pick it up. They can pick it up.
100%.
And people, same as animals, there's some people that are predators, and there's some people that are just, like game, like easy to manipulate, easy to control.
100%. Right? Yeah. and that's the crazy part about the whole thing. It's like when we go and do an investigation for Bronx Paranormal Society, and we've done and sometimes for the other ends of it, the New York State Sasquatch and New York State UFO Project, as well as we haven't done anything with the Dogman because it's a very risky, in my opinion, very risky cryptid to kind of play around with. So Sasquatch, Bigfoot, but of the two, I'd take my shot with that one. Bee's eating Red Lobster right now.
Yeah, I seen that. I was just looking at she's rubbing it in our face. Yeah, like damn, I wish I was eating. I was eating Red Lobster right now.
So what happens is when we go out, if we're bringing people, and Al has invited a few people, I never invite people because I need to take care of myself on it, and I'm also looking out for Al.
Right.
And I look out for other people on our team, don't get me wrong. But I know that I have his back, he has my back. That's not even a question. And I don't need to be sidetracked with something else when something's happening. So you have to have your situation right. But we always have them scanned. We always, Al's the first one to contact a psychic over in, Arkansas.
Tell me about that. Tell me about, remind me about that, because you were telling me that they're like, wow, really? Yeah. Tell me about that.
And let me tell you something, Al, tell me if I'm doing this wrong, because I heard it this way, but we did the very first investigation under Bryan Paranormal Society was a trip to Letchworth Village up in upstate New York. And other people have gone there, other ghost hunters have been there before. I've never been there before, but I've always heard about this place, and we were going to go there because high strangeness, it is 28,000 acres.
Wow.
Of a facility for bastard children, deformed children, illegitimate children, the dregs of society, the unwanted, from literally birth to 80 years old, and mental cases, non-mental cases, embarrassments and stuff. So we went up there, and what's very interesting is in Letchworth Village, they helped to the tuberculosis vaccination was tested there. I think it may have been partially created there, and what they would do is they would test it on the residents, and a candidate for testing on that vaccination that you could use is the ones that don't kill you. So they give it to a 6-month-old, and then the 6-month-old, if it lived, okay, that's a candidate. They try it on the next person, whatever. What they would do in the reverse, if you died, it's like, okay, let's not do that. We'll try another person. So there's a lot of people that got killed technically because they were used as guinea pigs. And that's how they would test it. Morals went out the door up there. So there was a lot of weird things going on. But we went up there. It was Al, myself, and a couple other people that initially were with the group that Al picked out for certain reasons. And after we went to the village, the Letchworth Village, and we had a great experience there with in the morgue area. We took a picture of one of the guys that was there, and I'm the evidence guy for the most part. I get it all first, and then I have to go through it and sit through audios and stuff like that. And in the picture above his head, it was pretty dark. It was a flash. And when I got it, and then I lightened the picture up above his head, was a floating, full body apparition of a doctor that we were trying to contact. It was pretty cool. And then we're in this room, the same room, and there's only one way in and one way out, and that was behind me in this image. And we were told by our psychic we're gonna find something with an O or the letter O on it or whatever. And we thought maybe operating room, whatever. And we're all there talking, and I looked down on this table, and I'm like, Al. He's like, what? He's talking. Al can talk to everybody like you don't know. I'm like, Al. And he's like, what? I'm like, look at the table. And he's like, what? And looking on right on the table appeared a Ouija board out of nowhere. It wasn't there when we got there. There was no Ouija board there. So, yeah, it was pretty intense, and we got some great shots of this old lady we were told by our psychic what we were going to meet, and she was excited. We were going to come there. An old lady with a huge shadow being next to her. It was a great event. But what we do after a lot of these investigations is we met up, and we go back to a diner, and we kind of get some food, and we talk about our feelings and what happened and whatever. So Al, this is the first time I was on an investigation with Al and any of these guys. So Al says, listen, before, I just wanted to let you know that before we went here today, I have the psychic for our group.
Right, but you didn't know about this, right? You didn't know about this, or nobody knew about it actually.
No, not at all.
He kind of had everybody Al knew.
Yeah, Al knew. He surprise.
He had that lady check everybody else. Check everybody out, yeah.
Yeah, and he goes, you know, when she does things, she gets kind of like electric charge if you're a little bit more, you know, open to paranormal type of stuff and whatever it is, right? You know, or have, you know, leaning towards abilities versus people that are just interested in, you know. So he went through a couple of people and like, you guys are, you know, everybody was okay. You were okay. He went to this other guy that we were used to be friends with. He got a little bit of charge from you, which means that, you know, you have potential to open up into more paranormal based stuff, like more intuition, you know, third eye stuff. And then Al goes, and then she got to you, and he points to me. Right, I'm like, oh yeah, really? What happened? He goes, she fell off her chair.
Oh,
and he said, you know, that's where he said, like, you know, he says you got a lot of gifts and abilities, but you have a whole bunch of walls up, you know. And I said, okay, I was interested in it, and that's when I actually started talking with our psychic, and she's like a sister. I mean, it's really weird when you meet people in this field and you just hit it off. You were meant to meet these people, in my opinion. It's not a coincidence. You were known to meet them. You were meant to meet them, and it's as if I met a sister, and she was my Yoda. So I said, look, I'd like to look into this a little bit more. Maybe, you know, work on to, you know, opening up what gifts I have. But I didn't want a Pandora's box. You know, I don't want to open up something.
Well, you didn't want to.
Yeah. I don't want a Pandora's box. So she goes, okay. So she started working with me, and you know, you have to learn how to ground yourself before you go into these places. Even as a non-psychic or you don't think you have abilities, before you go into any investigation, be it paranormal, haunting, before you even go to a haunted house, okay, or one of those haunted mansions for Halloween, you need to ground yourself. You should sage yourself. You should protect yourself. You know, I call in the power of God to surround me, and so on and so forth. Wow. And what she told me what I could do and things I do, and we started working on them. And I call it remote viewing because I could literally I remote view basically. But she says you're not a remote viewer. You're psychic like me, and I'm like, I don't know. I didn't want to say I was psychic at all, you know, but I can do remote viewing for a lot of people. I actually went to our psychic's house. I've never seen her before in person. Never seen anything where she lives or whatever. I described everything to a T. I helped her out on something that was haunting her at one point. So I call it remote viewing. Like I can remote view an object, and that's what I call it. She says I'm psychic. I say I'm a remote viewer. I talked to another brother of mine through a fraternal organization. Who is a big time psychic, very known in the field, and he goes, "Yeah, you're a remote viewer." But, you know, he sees things that, you know, he can, over your left shoulder, he sees like a little TV set right here. And it's playing out everything in your life, what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen. That's how he sees it. Wow. So that was pretty interesting to find out that, you know, I think everybody my personal opinion is everybody has an ability to be a psychic, you know, to use these abilities and gifts.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, but nobody really knows how to open it, right? That's what you were saying, Pandora's box.
Yeah, I didn't want a Pandora's box. She said okay, but she knew it was going to be a Pandora's box.
Oh, well, yeah, she knew it.
Once you start with this stuff, once you start with it, it's not like it goes away. Like, oh, you know, if you start exercising this muscle, which is around here, and it goes into the pineal gland, that third eye spot, you are literally opening up, you know, yourself to experience
third eye.
Yeah, it's really intense, and what's funny is it's like any type of muscle, right? So I know your other partner in crime, Tom, he likes to, you know, he must work out, right? You know, he's diesel, right? I'm not diesel. Checked up. You know, I got the CAD.
Swole.
Whatever. But it's just like anything else. When you work out that muscle and you start working out, right? So you start building up. It becomes easier. So you start with 10 pounds, right? And you're like, you know, as a little kid, whatever it is. Then you go to 20, 25.
Right.
You know, by the time you're finished and you're up there, you're like you're 470 or 560, whatever you're doing, whatever. And like 100 pounds is like nothing for you. It's like a sack of potatoes. Like you pick it up, right?
Right.
So it's the same thing with this. So now what happens is, I use it so much. It's a lot. I can do this at will. Sometimes it takes me longer to get into a certain, mindset to get into that zone where I have to be to travel psychically or remote view. Other times it's fluid. And what I've noticed is that when I start talking to people about stuff, I start seeing it play out. And there's many times where I can see, like, they'll say, well, I was at this one house and this thing came out, and I'm like, and you're seeing it as if you were in the room when it was actually happening. That's what happens. Wow. You start to develop more senses. And I don't do it all the time, but one time I was in New Jersey. If anybody's down there, we went to a place called Battlefield Orchards, and we do apple picking with my girls, every year. When, you get some apples, you get a pumpkin.
Tom knows New Jersey. Tom's he's from New Jersey.
Right. So this is Battlefield Orchards, like Monmouth County. There was a war there. They call it Battlefield for a reason. There was battles there. They have an old house on a foundation there, and they preserved it. So all the windows are wooded up on the inside, and they're just preserving this old homestead that was there. And what was very interesting, everybody's gone. They're all going back to pay for the apples, and I was there. And I'm like, let me look at this thing. So I stepped up on the foundation, right where the door is, and I put my hand on the door frame, and in an instant, I'm looking into this room, and I see right across from me. There's like a window. There's a staircase that goes up to an upstairs. There's a window there. There's a guy sitting on the windowsill. He's got his head wrapped up in bandages. There's blood on it. A nurse is sitting next to him, or a woman. I'm not going to say a nurse, but it was a definitely female, white dress, blood on her front, and tending to him. And then I looked a little bit to just to the right of them. There's 3 tables with soldiers on the tables, and a doctor there sawing with an old saw through the bone. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I noticed that those 2 that were on the stairs looked at me. They saw me there. And I'm like, holy crap. You can see the water, the steam coming up, and you can see it. There was a smell of like almost like a wound that has pus in it. It was a pussy wound. There's a certain smell to infection. It was, and smelled the burned flesh. It was as real as right now. And then I took my hand off the door and it disappeared. There was just a piece of wood in front of my face. Wow. So this is the stuff that as you start working these muscles, you can do. Now, I used to have a lot of these, I don't have dreams, personally. When you have dreams, you kind of remember them, right? I remember everything. Okay, I have a photographic memory, but I remember everything, especially at night. When I'm in bed, supposedly sleeping, I wake up, I can tell you the finest, most detail of what's going on. And I've had a couple of dreams where they're pretty bugged out, and I only talk to, I talk to Al about it. Like, dude, I got a dream about X, and this happened, and that happened, and whatever. And I say, like, should I tell him? I mean, it's crazy stuff I'm telling you, right? And Al goes, yeah, go ahead, go tell him. And then you tell these people, and then you get confirmation back. So this is what I do. I wasn't doing this stuff, normally. I'm not a psychic out there like Miss Cleo or anything like that. But I do use it all the time, and I have used it on investigations almost all the time. Whether I'm there or I'm not there, if I know if Al's out on the field, I'll remote view the field, and I'll tell him these different things. And then Al usually writes back, these guys they want to know what color they're thinking of. And he gets me pissed, but I'm right,
Hey, Al was actually saying right now, he said, Bryan, talk about the CE5 abilities. And but before you do that, I just wanted to ask you one question real quick.
Yes.
When you get these psychic, views or whatever, like like visions, right?
Right.
Are they in present time or are they in future time? What are they in, like?
Both.
Or both?
I
Both?
can. Yeah, I'll tell you.
Wow. Wow, that's
So
cool, man.
I can see past that I've never experienced, and I want to say that as in I don't know that what took place.
Mm-hmm.
I can see past, present, and future. I can see. I can go to specific dates and times and points.
Wow.
One time, actually,
awesome.
I did this when this whole pandemic.
Yeah.
Pandemic
I
was
agree on
taking
that.
place. I felt that a lot of people that are light workers or people that use gifts and have abilities, mine seemed to be being blocked. And I tried and like, no, something was blocking it. Something didn't want me to do what I was doing. And I called up a couple of people I know in the field, a lot of them actually, and the majority said yes, they feel like they're blocked. And so, but at one point last summer, in August, I think it was August 4th, I had a remote view. I wanted to see what 18 months to 2 years, what's going to take place here, in the next 18 months, 2 years. And I literally saw it like, again, as I'm seeing you, and I saw all these things play out. I saw a huge tidal wave that's basically the size of the entire West Coast hitting the West Coast. That was gone from California all the way up. Canada was fine. A lot of other states to the right of California and on up were now oceanfront property. That was really devastating. I also saw fights on the border of Canada between it seems like the citizens of Canada had enough, and they were fighting for their freedom and the country, taking it back from military or government use. And I saw a war actually break out in China, the Asian area of our planet, the South China Sea. Wow. And this is what freaked me out, because I know a lot about history. It was the Chinese did something stupid, like fire at us. And normally, sometimes you get like they do something and you respond in kind. Well, we didn't respond in kind. We went out full bore, and it was the U.S., Australia, and this one was through me, India versus China, and we destroyed them. We got rid of them. And
now, was this a vision from the past or from the future?
This is the future.
Future. Wow.
Yeah, and I asked for dates on some things, and the date for, I got the date 12/21. Now, I wasn't sure if it was December 21st or December 2021. So right now, I said it was 6 to 18 months. That's what it was.
Man, I hope it ain't December 2021.
December 2021 is coming. Okay. So there's some, and we had something pick up around December 21st this year, and I was like, "Ooh, this is getting interesting. Maybe this is." And I'm thinking certain things are coming true, because I find out around that time that Australia is having a problem with China, and so is India. They've been in a skirmish for a while now, and the U.S. of course, that's another issue there. But yeah, this is what this is some stuff that you do. It's really odd when I do it, and like I said, I don't have dreams. I have experiences. I've woken up because I've been up in these places when you should be sleeping. You'd think, oh wow, I had the craziest dream. I was running around here and there. I'm like, I'm telling you, when you wake up and you know all the innermost details of these things, you're actually experiencing it. It's not a dream. And when you wake up especially tired from that, that's another problem. CE5s, huh?
Yeah, man. Wow. Yep. So that's what the CE5 is. Okay.
No.
No?
No, CE5 is totally different, but Go ahead with your question, sir.
Okay, so you basically seen the San Andreas fault break off California, which is predicted. Everybody
No,
knows.
I didn't. This wasn't an earthquake. This was a huge ass tsunami. It was like something like what was that movie? There's a movie a couple of years ago. Maybe it was called San Andreas, where that big wave of water came. That's what it was like. It was just.
Yeah, I seen it. It was
literally
with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. I seen that.
Yeah, it was a huge amount of water headed our direction, almost as if the equivalent of that would be if a meteorite hit the ocean.
That's what it would do.
That's what would happen. That would be the force of something like that. And if the western coast of Africa, there's a shelf there near the Atlantic Ridge. If that shelf falls off, what will happen is, and scientists have predicted this, is that there would be a tsunami, 1,000 feet tall. That's 1,000-foot tall water wave. Okay, traveling Mach 1 towards the U.S. So that means everybody here on the East Coast would be bye-bye.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you hear that? You hear that, Tommy? You hear that, Tomahawk?
Yeah.
East Coast, man.
Yeah, no, I know.
I'm glad I'm in the middle, man. I'm glad I'm in Texas, bro. Because I mean, I know Cali's got it bad over there with San Andreas Fault, man. And Pacific Ocean, and the East has the Atlantic Ocean, so it's like, damn.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I think things are taking place, but that's as far as the ability type of thing. I do it. I've actually done. I interviewed a psychic, and she was like, "You need to do this more. You need to do more readings." And I'm like, I'm not Miss Cleo, I'm not a thief, type of thing. But I did my first reading for somebody, and it went really. It was spot on, and so I may do a little bit more of them. But Al wanted me to talk about CE5.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that, man.
Close encounters of the fifth kind, an active encounter. So I'm not a fan of Dr. Greer. So if you know who he is, people, he's Dr. Stephen Greer in the UFO community. A lot of people like follow him like a cult, and I'm not one of those. There's something about the guy that bugs me. But there's a protocol that comes up where you actively are asking for an interaction with aliens or extraterrestrials. So I was doing a couple of them, and there was one time I did one after a meeting that I met Alan, and it's not Alcoholics Anonymous, mind you. It was a more paranormal-based meeting, and I literally remote viewed out to a ship saying, "Hey, there are people down here that just want to have a meeting with you. They just want to interact with you. Can you come down?" And they came down. And I told them exactly where it was going to shine and where it was. And to the T, it happened. And, of course, Al wasn't there that night, and he missed the whole thing. So he didn't believe me. But there were several other people that said, yeah, he said X, and X happened, which is great. But 2 years ago, just before the COVID, Al and I we started the Paranormal Center up at the Pine Bush UFO Festival, which takes place every summer. And we'd be giving presentations. We do like 3-hour-long presentations and 3 half-an-hour-long presentations. And last year, I just said, you know what? We're going to do a CE5 that night. The first ever CE5 conducted up in Pine Bush. So, Al and I have to get to this place. We got there like 5, 6 in the morning, and we were there up until, it was like 10:30 at night. We were really tired, and we really didn't want to do this. Maybe no one will show up, right? So when we met this mother and daughter that came out specifically for the CE5. So I was like, okay, we're going to have to do something. And when we got to this field where we were greeted by like 75 people. We talking families were there, men, women, all different age groups, 75 of them. And we were like, holy cow, this is great. And we went to this one field, we set up in it. And when we got there, we get calls from Mark D'Antonio. He's the He's calling us, another guy. Bill's calling, where are you guys? We got a couple of cars coming. I mean, in total, we had about 100 people, showed up to this field. And I started the CE5, and we're sitting in this field. You look up and you tell everybody, let's find out where the traffic's coming, right? So in the distance, you can see like 50 plus miles, and you can see all these different mountain peaks because we're up in the Hudson Valley. Okay. And the sky was, was a little bit warm, but you can still see a couple of stars. The air traffic was far away from us in the distance. So there's nothing flying over our heads. We want to know where planes are coming in, and that would be Stewart Air Force Base and Stewart Airport. This is where some of the traffic was coming in. So I got everybody situated. I said, look, settle down. It's been a really great day. We're all excited, but what we got to do is we got to kind of relax, close our eyes. And I want you to say in your mind's eye, we'd like to meet you. We would like to have some kind of interaction with you, and you're going to sit there and meditate on that thought with the extraterrestrials. You say, just, can you come here and give us a sign you're here? Any type of sign. Okay. And we're going, and, this is taking about 20 minutes. And then what we do is we'd look up, and we're, trying to see if we see satellites, and people like, what's that? What's that? And it was really nothing. So at one point, after the 20-minute, meditation, I'm sitting in a chair. Al's to my left, a little bit away from me. And I start hearing this hooting and hollering. That's exactly how I thought of it. Hooting and hollering. And I'm like, wow. Where we we're on top of this little area. There was a field there. There was a couple of homes. And then there was a row of trees. And then if you went through the trees, very few row of trees. But you could see a baseball field. It's like a whole park type of system for them.
Hey, Bryan.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I just had a brilliant idea, man. Right. Do you want me to invite Al on here right now? I can get him on here. I can add him.
I don't. Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
If you want to get him in, you can get him in.
What do you say, Al? What do you say, Al?
I don't. Whatever.
You said sounding like an owl. About that hooting and hollering.
Yeah, it sounds like hooting and hollering.
Yeah.
So let me. So
okay, go ahead.
I said, holy. I thought it was some kids at the baseball field. Just behind Al. Maybe a couple 100 yards behind Al. Like, oh wow, those kids are drinking up a storm. It's Saturday night. It's a really small town. Nothing's going on. I'd be doing the same thing. And then this guy comes out from the woods near Al. And says, do you hear that owl? And I'm like, what would I say? Hooting and howling. It was like, hoot, hoo, 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 right?
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I hear the owl. And before we can even finish saying we hear the owl, right above us in the sky is a giant craft appears.
Wow.
With the center white light. It's a domed light. It's pure white. It's LED white. It is super bright. And you can see like a hexagonal type of thing that's holding it in place on this really dark black type of craft. Everybody just starts going ballistic. They're like, oh my God, oh, ah. So I have a laser beam, and I'm just like, I'm in awe of this thing. Al is in awe of this thing for a bit, but then we get back to let's be the paranormal guys we are, and Al starts flashing, dot, dot, dash, dot, dot, dash. And this thing is dot, dot, dash, dot, dot, dash, right?
Wow.
So so I start saying things and out in my, my head, out of my mouth, out of my mind's eye, it's responding to all these different things. We do the lights on, off, and I'm like, I'm just blown away by this. Everybody else is. And we say, can you go out and to the other mountain and do some turns or something? And it goes all the way out. You see it in an instant, like on instant from where we were. It appears as a light over by this mountain, at least 50, 60 miles away. And then it starts going left and making right angle turns and then going up and down and all this stuff. Then it comes back and we're just going crazy for it. And then it stops. And we're like, oh my God. I'm like, can you come back one more time? Just show yourself one more time.
Yeah.
We say it, and then boom, it comes back. It's over our head,
Wow.
And we all like, this is incredible. Thank you so much. And then it's gone.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah. It was. Let me tell you something. I investigate the stuff. Al investigates the stuff. And, it's not like this gets old. We are still in awe when things like this happen, because the probability of being in one spot on this huge, globe and being able to communicate and say, can you come here and show us something, and being heard is so astronomical that you should be in awe when it happens.
Wow.
Yeah. We've done this before, and you know what?
Y'all literally communicated with a damn species from out of this planet, from out of this world.
And something we're doing now is,
even if it was just Morse code or whatever, but God, dog,
it's just it's like call response. So 2222.
It's like that movie. What was it with Richard Dreyfuss, right? Where he would play whatever music.
Yep.
And the thing would play it right back at him or whatever. Right? What was that called?
Baby.
Close Encounters of the what? Fourth kind?
Third kind. Third kind.
Third kind. Yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah, Close Encounters of the fourth kind is a totally different movie, and
that's one of my favorite movies. Yes, of all time, about UFOs. I mean, even though it's kind of
No, let me tell you something.
But I think they're onto something there, man. Yeah.
Well, everybody's talking about this disclosure stuff now, and I'll tell you straight up. Disclosure happens, and some people. I talked to a couple of people. They said, "Oh, in '52 it happened," and I'm like, "No, in '52 what happened was UFOs appeared over the Capitol and the White House, and it was in the newswire. There was some pictures and stuff, but that didn't go. It wasn't mainstream like global at that point. We didn't have the connection like that. When in 1977, when Close Encounters of the Third Kind came out, it was an international blockbuster movie, okay? And disclosure was there because J. Allen Hynek, the guy that was in charge of Blue Book and all this other stuff to debunk UFOs, that couldn't say that he couldn't debunk it because it was too real. He made an appearance in that movie. So if you want to know disclosure, there it was. And it was at the end of the movie when the craft comes down and the aliens come out and all that crap takes place. That's your real disclosure. Come this June 25th, you're not getting crap, people.
Yeah, that's what they said. There was announced for June this year, and I haven't seen anything, man. It's like I don't think anything really came out.
You still got some time, brother.
I think they will. Yeah. But I'm thinking they're holding back, man. They just want to, see the reaction of the people. But I think they're holding back. I mean, because 70+ years of hiding it, why bring it out now? You know what I mean?
I wouldn't.
It would take all the fun away from it, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So.
And Tom was there. He did help Spielberg with the movie. It was. Let me tell you, there's a lot of crazy stuff that took place with that. But one of the things we do, and this is something we started doing, Al and I, with when you get the cryptids, specifically Sasquatch, Bigfoot. I call them Bigfoot. I don't go with Sasquatch. So,
right. I like people of the woods.
People of the woods. I've heard that term used by many people. It's like on the indigenous level. They're guardians of the woods, guardians of the elements. That's something like that's pretty. Hey, whatever makes you happy. I just always have called it Bigfoot.
Right. Yeah.
Even though
that's the most famous Bigfoot and Sasquatch.
Only a couple of organizations have called it Sasquatch. So I call it what I call it. I'm just going to make my life easier on that end. But we're starting to use, because we've got, Al's got a couple of solo things going on that we check in with each other about. I got a couple of things going on in the same thing. I'm hitting certain parts of New York State because I'm getting reports or I'm getting information regarding sightings of Bigfoot or a large bipedal something in the area, not a bear. So you got two choices there. You have a Bigfoot or Dogman, right? each one of us is taking notes on our own thing, but we're also doing things as usual together. And something we're started to do is use the protocols that are for a close encounter of a fifth kind, an active encounter, by asking these Bigfoot. Before we go in, we're like, look, we're not here to hurt you. We're not here to harm you. We're not going to take you away from anybody. We just want to have an interaction with you, and so we can let people know how real you are and that type of stuff. That's it. And we're trying to get to, use different methodologies to have a genuine interaction with this crypt, this being, this beast, this whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And so I highly recommend, if you're going to go out and you want to have some kind of Bigfoot interaction, you may want to go out there and use your own thought process. Send it out, not only like speak it out there, like, look, we want to have an interaction with you, but mentally focus on it, meditate on it for a minute, and say, look, I'm here. I'm going to enjoy the wilderness. I know I've heard reports that you're here. If you're here, can you please give us a sign that you're present? We'd love to have some interaction. And it seems that this type of technique now it's starting to work. So I highly recommend it. Using it for Bigfoot only. I would not recommend it for the Dogman. Yeah, not at all. So, but yeah, so try that technique there.
Right.
And that's pretty much CE5s in a nutshell for the most part.
Oh, cool. Hey, I wanted to ask you a question about these topics that that I had written down on my notes.
Sure.
And kind of goes with what we were just talking about. What can you tell us what you think after so many years? You are now like 30 plus years that y'all been in this. What have you seen like different, like of the growth in the cryptids? Like, I mean, because I know there's way more sightings now, way more stories, way more cryptids now than there was 30 years ago.
Right.
So what's your take on that? Like, the growth of the cryptids, how they're growing so much.
We're going to get in some gray areas here. Your people are probably going to like it, so I'm going to go for it anyhow.
All right.
Okay, so I never wanted to believe Dogman was a real thing. I didn't want to believe that there was a...
Al got you into that, right? I remember.
12-foot, yeah. Yeah, he did.
You're like, I hate Al because he got me into that.
Yeah,
I've heard that in several interviews, actually.
Yeah, killing fucking machine. And he's like, yo, bro, you got to hear this, Bryan. You got to hear this. And like, okay, I'm listening. And I'm like, okay. And then you start, you're hearing more people speak about it. And then you're hearing people that work for supposed lettered agencies that have more to lose tell you certain things about what happens on bases and what they're involved in with regard to some of these creatures. And you can't, you can't record it because, your life probably could be in danger. And you're also, ruining the life of somebody who's doing some good stuff for a country and whatever. And they start telling you stuff. So I didn't want to believe in a Dogman. But it's real. It's very real. I think that cryptid is another being that's been on this planet and interdimensionally as well since the millennium, since the start of time, since this planet has existed. And matter of fact, if you look up the holy Saint Michael's prayer, protect us from all, may God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do thou, O Prince of the house, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan, and here's the kicker, and all evil spirits who prowl the world seeking the ruin of souls. And some people say ruin of man, but the ruin of souls. Amen and amen. So the devil is just one facet of that prayer. What you're hearing in that prayer is that there are other evil things out there trying to hurt and harm man. And why is that? So that is because, just think about it. you're in your house right now, right? Al's in his house. All these people are in their homes or wherever they are. What happens if someone comes in and just takes over your house? Walks in, takes over your stuff, changes the paint, puts a new bed in, TV, and totally disregards your presence there, right?
Yeah.
That's basically what God did. God said, these are humans, and, I'm putting them there. So everything that was on the earth dwelling there, from these different type of creatures to spirits to whatever the fallen angels are, the devil and so on and so forth, they're all looking to get rid of man because man's inferior to these creatures. Some of these creatures we talk about also are the jinn. People have heard about them, right?
Yes, jinn. Yes, that's another thing I was wanting to talk about.
Talk to someone who studies the Quran about the jinn; they'll run away. They will not discuss it. They don't want to talk about it. But these beings that were here long before man was here, and they don't like man. They want their, this is our property. This is our hood. Get the hell out. So the jinn is where they get genies from. Okay?
Okay.
That's where the genie comes from. Genie in a bottle. And the jinn was the one
from the jinn?
That was controlled. Yes. So when you get the, when they were building the temple in the land of Israel, whatever, to hold the Ark of the Covenant and the laws given from God down to, the Hebrews. They were Hebrews at that point, whatever they were. In order to build the temple quickly, God gave, I think it was Solomon and David, they gave him a ring, and the ring actually controlled the jinn, and they had the jinn build the temple for him. And the jinn were not too happy about doing this work, but they had total control over it. So that's where they get the Jewish star, as above, so below. So as above God, so below God on earth. I command you. That's where it comes from. And they control the jinn. Jinn, they don't like humans. They want them out. The jinn can come into different forms. They can pretend, when you're seeing like a bad spirit, or you think it's a demonic thing, it may very well be the jinn. When you hear of stories of hauntings, it could be the jinn. They want you off their property.
That's what I was gonna ask you. What is jinn considered? Like a apparition, a ghost, a demon? What is that?
See. Demons are demons. The demons are part of fallen angels. Okay, and when the light bearer, Lucifer, the light bearer, didn't want to follow and protect humans, he wanted God's love, and God said, "No, you got to take care. You've got to do whatever these humans need to do." And Lucifer's like, "I'm out. I'm not doing it." They're talking monkeys, right? So God cast them all out. He cast anybody that and there were other angels at the time that felt the same way. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, but we're angels. Why the hell do we have to get, why are we second fiddle? They're just monkeys, they're nobodies. So they followed Lucifer. Lucifer has his own minion, and they're all fallen angels. It's a different type of category, which everybody says they're demons and demonic. No, there are other type of spirits and beings that were here that fall into the demon category. They fall into like super ancient type of creatures that may be interdimensional.
Right. Hey, so what would like one of those evil beings or entities or whatever that come out of a Ouija board, would that be considered a jinn?
That could be the jinn. That could be an evil spirit that's taking an opportunity to, you're opening a damn door, right? Here, I'll give you a great example. If you just magically press the button and all the doors in Rikers Island opened up and none of them are locked, you don't think prisoners would be leaving? Right? Open door, like, whoa, wait a minute. No one's here?
Yeah.
No one's stopping me? They'd run out, right? Same principle. When you're messing with crap that you shouldn't be messing with, you think you're talking to Grandpa, but you're not talking to Grandpa. You're talking something really hideous that has evil intent, wants to eat your soul, and you know, whatever.
And he tries to pass as your grandpa, right? Without you even knowing it, right? He sees that opportunity,
right?
So yeah,
so they know stuff about you because they have the ability to. They know what's in your thoughts. They know what's in your, you know, your essence. They know it all. Once you get from the physical world where we are right now, past into the death area, the veil is. Everybody knows what's going on. It's like a united conscious. You know, it's like if you watch Star Trek, it would be we are what is it, the Q or whatever it is, or no, the Borg. The Borg is one giant concept, you know, consciousness, where everybody knows if someone gets hit, one person gets hit 6 planets away, they all know it. They all know who hit them and how it happened. It's all information at once. And this actually happened, in my opinion, with a lot of dogmen. When you have an interaction with one dogman, for some reason, it seems that whatever that clan is are all somehow interconnected to know that what's going on. There's a lot of cases like that where if you don't kill that dogman, I guarantee you they're going to track your ass down, and other dogmen are going to know who you are, what you did, and they're going to kill you. Wow. Because it's all like one giant consciousness. So that's what the evil side is, and that's what, you know, where the jinn, you know, they play, they make up stuff.
You were telling me that somebody that shot a dogman or something like that, like actually killed one, that whole pack came and hunted that guy down a couple of states and killed him?
There was a guy that he was out, and I forgot.
Or did I hear that in another one of your interviews? I can't remember.
No, I forgot exactly where this took place. So I'm just. But basically, what happened was they were in the woods. They had guns, and they came up against the dogman. The dogman did his you know, growling thing and whatever. So the natural reaction, as anything, is you know, shoot it. And what happened? They shot this thing up, and he hightailed it out of there, and he drove like 400 miles away. They tracked his ass to his house 400 miles away.
Wow.
And they rocked him. He was done. He was done. Because it was
the Dogman clan.
Were there.
The Dogman clan.
Yeah, the Dogman clan. They came in. They, you know, normally it's very weird. You'll hear a lot of stories where dogmen they mess with you. They mess with your head. You know, they're very smart. They'll ring, you know, the front doorbell and the back doorbell. They'll knock on the glass in the front and the back, and you're like, "What the hell is this?" You know, they try to like come outside. You know, they want you out of the house. It's almost like a vampire thing. I never understood this, right? So here you have like an 8 to 9 foot killing machine, but it doesn't go into your house.
Exactly.
The door in a split second.
Yes.
And I think there's a permission factor there.
Okay.
It's a permission factor.
Thank you, because I've always had that damn doubt, man. All the encounters with Vic and everywhere else that I've listened to, it's like they can't just barge in there. You know, they try twisting the doorknob. Like, what the hell? They can just break that thing down, dude.
No,
and they don't. Why?
I think it's all about the intention and the act. If you have not done anything in your home, if you have not invited them in, your home is a sacred spot. And home is where, you know, God even says it. If it's in the Bible, your home is your temple. Your body's your temple too. You're not allowed to cross that threshold for whatever reason without being invited to cross the threshold, or without something causing you to have justification to go in there. Justification is if you try to take out, you know, your neighbor, you know that's justification. Your neighbor, their cousins, and their brothers, they're going to come after you. That's what I think takes place there, because I've heard plenty of stories, you know, Vic as well, and some other people, and I heard stories from people up upstate New York, you know, verbatim, like what happened, and like this thing was right outside my screen. I felt it breathe on me, and I said, and it didn't come through your screen, right? It could have grabbed me. I mean, in a second. It never came through my screen, and I just don't. I never understood the concept of that.
I've heard encounters about that. Open window, and they still won't come in. Like,
and they're like peeking in, and they're looking. You know, like
you
know how it is.
Looking.
If you have a a screen on your door, and it's nighttime, especially down, like, you know, I don't know how lit up your street is in Texas, but I remember going to a sleepaway camp that you can have 3 people standing right in that doorway, and you're in a lit bunk, and because it's so dark outside, you can't see what's on the other side of that screen. It's right there, you know. And then you go up to the door, and someone goes, "Hey, what's up?" And you get you're like, "Whoa, where'd you come from?" I'm like, "I've been standing here for 20 minutes." You know, you just don't see him because of the light play. So, but yeah, these dogmen traveled, found him. I believe they killed him basically, or rocked his world. Someone else knew what took place, you know.
Hey, Brian, I have a very, very quick question, and hopefully you can help us with that, because everybody's, you know, listening in, and they probably never heard of this. But do you think that we project some type of aura where some people can see the dogman and some people cannot? Do you think that's a possibility? Like, it's there, but one person can see it and the other person can't see it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why? Well, why is that?
Okay, so I don't think we have an aura where some people can see it, some people can't see it. Most people are. It's not logical. That should not exist in our world. That only exists in movies. And if someone saw this thing walking down the street, they'd be like, "Are they filming a movie, a werewolf movie here?" You know, they'd ask a question. Well, I'm in New York City, so they'd be like, "Yeah, whatever." You know, they would. Yeah, whatever.
So we ran into somebody's set. Where's the camera?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
What's up with your dog, man? Yo, you got the funny dog there. But I don't think it's that. I don't think it's like, you know, we have special gifts. I think people choose to, in times of stress, they choose to block it out. I don't want to see it. I don't want to know from it. But I also think, and I'm going to get crap from it, and I don't care. I thoroughly believe this creature can go interdimensional. We have these great shots. There's a group up in upstate New York that has dogmen on some property that they have Bigfoot on, and usually if you have Bigfoot, you usually have a dogman.
Let me bring something up real quick, Brian, because I remember you telling me this on the pre-interview that we had the other day. I remember you were mentioning something about CERN, because you just touched that topic about CERN, maybe opening up the portals or you know, parallel universes or whatever. That's how they came in. Do you think? I mean,
no. I'll tell you what. I think these creatures have been coming in and out of Earth in whatever dimension they go from since the beginning of time. And I think they can go into dimension. I've seen evidence where you see a dogman. It's blurry, but you can see the shape, the ears, the pointed ears, and, you know, there's a snout, and there's some movement. These are frames from a video. It's a very quick video. It's like 3 seconds, right? Something like that. And then what happens is you see this blur. You see something that's solid become like cut up blur, a light, like a flash, and then you see it's gone. So, and my theory here is that when you convert one form of energy to another, there usually is it's so much. You have to have more energy to convert the energy, kind of like on the quantum side of things. And what happens is you usually do have a spark, like a pop.
Okay, you know? Okay.
So in other words, think of it as an engine, right? If you don't have a spark plug there to spark that, you know, the fuel, you're not going to do anything. You need that spark to convert that liquid to gas to a fire. So, I mean, it's a little bit technical. Now, getting back to CERN, and I'll tell you something. So, it's very interesting about CERN. Right now, I asked you, you know, like, you know what the first collider was. Remember that conversation we had? And you're like, oh, you mean CERN out in, you know, over in Europe? I'm like, no. The first collider ever built, hydrogen collider, was built through Illinois, Chicago area, and it's owned by oh Lord, I'm looking at
you said the first one was in the U.S., right?
Yeah, it isn't. It's right over there, and I forgot the name of the company. It'll come back to me in a minute. And they were the first ones to do it. That was built in the early 90s. Well, it was built up. It started going live in the early 90s. Okay. And they were doing some major experiments with particles, and they were blowing shit up and smashing particles into particles. They had no idea what they were doing. They thought, oh, we'll do some scientific tests. We can do this, right? But in the process, you know, that's what took place there. I'll explain this. This is important to know because we have something called the Mandela effect, right?
Right.
And the Mandela effect was coined in 2009.
Right.
2009, 2010. I forgot the person that coined, another paranormal investigator who thought Mandela was dead, only to find out Mandela never died. He wasn't dead at that point, right?
Yeah. So
they're like, what? You know, so they call it the Mandela effect because of something that you thought happened but never happened.
Right. And I was one of the ones that thought he did die back in prison back in the 80s. And no, he supposedly died in 2013. I'm like, what? I would have seen that all over the news, and I didn't.
Right.
So,
But so other things that took place with that Mandela effect, whereas people remember up until the 90s, you know, most of the people remember differently are the ones that grew up with it. So I grew up with Star Wars, 77, right? And whatever. Right. And I remember certain things. Luke, I'm your father, whatever the heck it was. That's what I remember. But because of the Mandela effect, they said, no, it's Luke, I am your father.
Right.
I'm like, you know, it was a different. I'm like, no, it was the other one. Berenstein Bears, the Ford logo. With a little lilt in it. I'm like, it never happened. Fruit of the Loom having the cornucopia. Okay, so Fruit of the Loom, on the underwear. Yeah, and they had a cornucopia in brown.
Right.
I remember it. You can't find it anyplace.
No, you can't find it. Yeah, I do remember that little thing, that little Thanksgiving thing, basket or whatever it's called.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's the Thanksgiving basket have to do with underwear, you know, or clothing? You know? That's how I was thinking.
Yeah, but it was there. I do remember that.
I explain it this way. What happened when the Mandela effect was really key was when this collider was at full force. It was it was shut down immediately. No one gave a reason why around 2008, 9, or 10. Okay? Think about this. They're doing some experiments with stuff they don't know what they're doing, right? Colliding, you know, molecules, and what are they creating from it? And all of a sudden we have this moment of Mandela effect. Like, I thought he's dead. No, he's not dead. And then everybody from that point forward to now remembers things different than we remember from that, you know, from before that point. So my point is, what I think happened here is that those people, and they're doing it now with CERN itself. This is why a lot of things are messed up now. When they messed around with these particles and what they were doing, I believe they ripped in time, space, the multiple timelines that are going at the same time.
Yep.
So
multi-universe.
Multiverse. Exactly.
Multiverse, yes.
So what's happening right now while we're doing this is there's multiples of these going off, right? But maybe in the sixth one down to the right, we're talking about comedy instead of this. Maybe we're doing politics in another one, or maybe we're doing something and it's a little bit more off, or it's dark, or whatever. So what I think happened was, if this is our universe, I'm just going to make a circle, right? I think what happened is, through those experiments, it's fractured, right? It broke off, or broke off some pieces. And then when they stopped doing it, or they did another experiment, they went back together, it went back together like this.
Yeah, fractured.
From a different timeline and dimension. They fractured it. But in the process, in that rip in time and space, things crawled out of it. They created a hole in time and space. So things from other dimensions and other times were like, dude, what's that hole up there? Oh, let's go through it.
Yeah.
They go through it. They're like, oh, wow, this is different. You know, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
And now, and then what happens is that hole gets closed up.
And then they get stuck there. Right. Exactly.
So that's my theory about how the Mandela effect started, and why another thing is taking place. We have more cryptid sightings. We have stranger cryptid sightings. We have stranger environments going on in our world. The people that are here now that are leaders or individuals are still the same leaders and individuals in other timelines, but we don't have the right timeline for our timeline. And that's why things aren't working out right. And something that's very interesting, if you go to the Chicago area right now, there are hundreds of eyewitness reports of flying humanoids in the area.
Wow.
That look very much like,
I've heard of that.
A figure of a human being with bat wings, flying around, things with glowing red eyes that look like the Mothman from, remember the Mothman prophecy, right? Down in West Virginia, Point Pleasant, whatever it is. And I think what happened is these cryptids, because they started up with that collider too, and they've been doing it for a couple of, like, almost probably about 5-6 years afterwards, they restarted the program, and I guess they said, well, we got to do things differently now. So they're still doing experiments with it. So all they're doing is keeping these rips open, and these things are coming through, and that's why they have all these crazy sightings. That's why they had the sighting where they have it. There's some great shots of these things. They look like gargoyles standing on top of buildings, and then there's some video. It comes off and it flies, and it's a flying cryptid.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is when you said, crazy cryptids and all this stuff. I mean, I think some of these are getting help from people playing with stuff they shouldn't play with. It's like giving a 3-year-old a Glock, a loaded Glock.
Right.
Even a 3-year-old can pull that trigger because it's a hair trigger. But we shouldn't be doing certain things.
Right.
I'm not anti, by the way.
I do believe CERN is the cause of a lot of things that we're seeing nowadays. You know what I mean? I do believe that. In tampering with time, thus Mandela effect.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think there is, unless it's really well hidden. But I really don't think there's a travel through time thing, because if it is, we would have known about it by now. See what I'm saying?
I don't know. I mean,
unless they're keeping it really, really hidden and it's really not showing it anywhere.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that relate to the Roswell crash and all these different type of crashes and recoveries of alien craft. We were able to. There's something called the Looking Glass, Project Looking Glass, and there's a yellow cube, and basically there are 3 components that were back engineered, and when you put these components together, you can see into the future, and you can alter the future and change the future's path. Okay? Literally, you can test different theories. And so I don't know about time travel. I think there is some time travel. I think there's abilities. I think we have abilities to do certain things, but there's no reason, we don't know what happens 200 years from now. We don't, I mean, have you noticed that if you just look back, not that far, look back to the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and see the advancement of technology. We got to a certain point, and it just went, it was like, okay. And then we hit a certain point, and all of a sudden we just took off.
Yeah.
And it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
If you had the ability to change time or time travel, I think you'd use it. I think it'd be pretty interesting to use it. And I think there may be some individuals that are from our future that wanted to go back and see what it was like. I'd like to travel back to 2020 and see what it was like during the plague or whatever the hell they want to call it.
Right. Well, I'm saying because if they make a machine or time machine or whatever, like say in the year 2550, right?
Right.
Which is like 450 years from now, whatever.
Yep.
Or 4,550. 500 years from now.
No, it's 20. It's 500, and yeah, it's about 20.
No, it is 500. Yeah, yeah. 550 years
roughly,
from now.
Yeah, whatever.
Right. So let's say they make one there, and are they going to say, "Well, let's go back in time, but let's not go further than Saturday, June 12th, because then they're going to know." You know what I mean? 2021. Like, why wouldn't they go back to 1942? Why wouldn't they go back to 1965 or I don't know, 1912? You know what I mean?
See themselves being born, right?
Because because then we would know about it by now. See what I'm saying?
I mean, I think,
so I don't think there's.
I can't say we wouldn't or we would. I lean more towards we wouldn't know about it, because that's a huge. There could be laws in place where you're not allowed to go back in time, because if you do alter the timeline,
right,
it's significant. You may not be able to get, back to where you want to be. Oh, sorry about that. But I don't know. I mean, we have reports from people that had individuals that are claiming that they are not aliens. They're actually from our future.
Right. There are cells from the future.
Right. And they don't look like us, though. They look kind of funky, right?
But little bitty nose, big old eyes, little bitty mouth.
No
genitalia, because they don't reproduce.
I'm gonna tell you that's
gotta suck, right? Takes the whole fun away.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no sex? Oh no, we don't do that. I'm like, what's wrong with you people?
Like, you can't even tell them apart.
No.
Yeah. You can't even tell them apart because they don't have a thing down there. Either or.
Well, they're interesting. The Greys are interesting. The Greys are they're odd things. But what? I mean, you possibly could be right. We could know about it. There are people that are screaming about it. I don't want to get political. I don't want to get people to get pissed off, because I don't want them.
Right.
Yeah, Al. I just saw that comment, Al.
What's that?
We have friends that are off-worlders. They're not from this world.
Wow.
And it's really funny, because I have another friend that I interviewed, and this guy's great. And he has friends, and he's told he's had experiences with different types of abductions.
Wow.
From aliens to alien abductions versus U.S. people abducting them, and basically, he says on my Facebook page right now, I have friends, and they are actual aliens. He goes, I will not tell you who they are.
Wow.
But they are aliens. He's had that many interactions. He's a great guy.
Wow.
But so
That's
we have
curious.
people that are off-worlders, and one of the off-worlders, I was questioning him a bit on some of this time travel. Like, why do you go back only so much? And why don't you go forward so much? He goes, well,
right.
And it's logical. Hear this out. He says, I can only go to a certain point in the future, because if I go any further than a certain point, I'm not going to have the immunity that I would need
to be there.
Viruses. Right.
So because of the evolution, because of our bodies turning into what we know now as aliens. Wow, that's deep.
You may want to, think about that. And that was probably one of the best answers I've ever gotten, regarding that subject. So
my buddy Abe Sai says illegal aliens. LOL. Just kidding.
Well, that's the fun part.
Because they're not from this planet, so they're illegal aliens.
I want to see some ICE agents, all right, gray guy, come here. I mean, it's bizarre what we have, and see, people won't even believe half this stuff. There's some. Not only the abduction's really intense, why people are getting abducted, and everybody's like, oh, they're gonna take us, and we're part of some galactic federation, and the world's gonna be a better place. And I just look at those people like, okay, so you're the idiots got to watch out for.
Right,
Okay.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
My opinion is there is absolutely. I hate when people talk about galactic federations. I think it's a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
There is no galactic federation. There are hundreds plus different types of alien species. A couple, not many, have a look that is very similar to what people would call Sasquatch, but
Right.
it's not Bigfoot. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them, is not an alien. And that's the new trend now. And these
Yeah.
people are so bored with themselves.
They want to say it's
the
an
new
alien.
trend is this: Bigfoot's an alien. It's its own alien craft, and everything else is demons and fallen angels and Nephilim.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, no, fucking no. Sorry.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm sorry. You know, people are
Right.
so bored with this. They're trying to create some more BS, and it's
not
true.
Yeah, they twist it to where what they think might be, and they try to make it like if it was a fact.
It's all about they're trying to make some money and make a new focus. I've heard this crap. You know, it's the same people pushing this crap. And look, I'm an ordained minister. Okay, I'm very spiritual, believe in God, the whole thing. And you know that everybody has their own choice.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Everybody has their own narrative, like where they want to go with it.
But when you get those born again people and everything they do, there's a couple of guys that are paranormal investigators that are born again Christians, and everything's a fucking demon, and it's not. Everything is the Nephilim. Everything is X, Y, and Z. I'll tell you another theory. Okay, this drives me absolutely batshit crazy. So I'll probably you're gonna get killed for this. So there's a couple of people that report, I think, that they have Bigfoot DNA. That's what they're saying. We have Bigfoot DNA, and we know that it's Bigfoot because we can tell what the mother DNA is, but the unknown DNA is unknown, so therefore it has to be Bigfoot. So it's Bigfoot DNA. And I'm like, no, you can't make that assumption. You can't make the assumption to Bigfoot DNA at all. Okay, you're it's a guess, it's a hypothesis, but these people are purporting it as because it doesn't have I forgot the ridge that's inside the hair samples. Oh, it doesn't have that, and that's what Dr. Meldrum said. We don't have any of this in our database. You know, when you get the DNA, there's a lot of indigenous people and species in this planet. I'm talking about human beings that are not in the DNA database.
Right.
They don't even have 1/32 of the data they need on a couple of groups of individuals in this planet. And to make an assumption that it's Bigfoot is it's horseshit. Just like there's a UFO investigator, reporter / database person, and when they released their data, they took data from one source and they put it into a database, and they put it into by county, so they had to sort data. And I give them credit for doing that because I've worked with data before. It sucks when you have to filter data and put it in, when you have to clean it up.
Right.
But this individual comes up and says, the reason why there are so few reports from this point to this point in time was because people didn't have cable. And I questioned this first. I said, are you saying because they didn't have cable, like cable TV? Yes, they didn't have internet or cable, so they couldn't report anything. That's the assumption. That's why there's no the sightings disappeared. And that's a load of, pardon the expression, horseshit. People report when they want to report something. It's not because they don't have cable TV. Oh, I can't get to the internet to report it. All these for Mutual UFO Network, NIFUG, all of them have numbers, hotline numbers. They're in the pages. You can just look them up. What's that? You could report it. Maybe it's not reporting because they don't have cable. Maybe it's the fact that the aliens are finished doing their surveying of that area, and that's why the reports are dropped because they're not there. So you got to be careful what you got to understand where they're coming from, what their angle is. Oh, Nephilim. That's the new ticket right now, by the way. The Nephilim. Everything's a demon and a fallen angel.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. That's true. That is true.
What is it? Abe, I think, said, you're talking shit about stuff. You'd hope they have a shit sample, you know.
Right.
And then they find, you know, that's another thing. You find feces and stuff. I can tell you straight up from this, in this field, when it gets to, I've had my own experiences with craft, 100%. I've seen craft high, low, and whatever. I've remote viewed into an alien craft. I've seen grays, and that's a totally different subject. And I've seen Nordics and a couple others. But I'm not aware of having a physical interaction like touching or being, you know, I don't know about that. I've had some missing time. That's it. I'm not getting regressed. I sleep okay. I don't want to go through any nightmares, right? There are other people that have had physical interaction with these people, these things, okay? And what happens is the same thing with Bigfoot. I've seen these things. I've seen it within literally no more than 3 inches from me. 3 effing inches. It could have put me through a window in 1978 easily without even thinking about it. I would have been dead. Okay? Scared the hell out of me. So I've physically seen this creature. I've seen a dogman. Okay? I know they're real.
Yeah.
Okay? 100%. Here's the problem. So my research and my boots on the ground, and Al will tell you when you get Al back, you know, eventually get us both on one show. We'll say the same thing. We've had our own experiences. We're not experts. We have experience and years worth of research, boots on the ground stuff. Okay. When we say certain things, we have hypothesis after hypothesis of it's this. No, it's Gigantopithecus. No, it's this. No, it's this. When you have new experiences, just when you think you have it like quantified and you're like right here, something comes along and blows us apart. And you're like, let's go. Oh my God. But what we do is we keep these other theories and questions and hypotheses in our own personal, like our file cabinet. So when I hear a preposterous theory, I'll keep it there. This is a hypothesis from somebody else. Right. And until I find any information, and if I never I'm doing this for 40 years. And I've yet to, some of the stuff that people have said and people are believing going with, I've yet to experience it. And I think it's crap. But not one of us has a physical Bigfoot in possession. Not one of us has a physical dogman in possession.
Right, exactly.
Not one of us has a physical alien in possession.
To have 100% solid proof. Yeah. Right. Yes,
so everything that we know right now is all hypothesis.
Yes.
Exactly. So we have groups of people lining up. Here they are, right? There's the dogman people. They're real. They're flesh and blood. There's the other dogman people. They're interdimensional. Right. They're really Wendigos. They're not, by the way. Totally different creature. But it really is totally different. Wendigos are totally different. And you know, so, and then you have the Bigfoots, and they communicate telepathically. No, they don't. They're just something that exists. It's a prehistoric man, and it's on the monkey gene, and goes back to Gigantopithecus and all. Look, it's all hypothesis. Okay? And until you physically have one in your possession, and you can do experiments on it, and you can talk to it, or you can have some interaction, like, how long have you been here? You know, my clan's been here for 400 million moons, right? Just think about that concept as a moon is one Earth, day, right? You know, they can say that, or 400 million moons, 400 million suns. You know, you're talking about a full day cycle. One is the moon, sun. That's a day. You know, we don't have these answers. Do I believe the government have them? 100%. I believe the government have. They have cryptids. I think they have dogmen. I think they have Bigfoot. I think they get them when they're very young. Call it pups or the youth, like babies. Because up until a certain point, they can still control it. But once it understands what it does innately, like it can disappear, it can interdimensional, it can change its molecular structure, they won't have it anymore. They have enough of them to get enough DNA from them so they can do experiments on other things.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And the government ain't going to tell you crap. Okay. They're not going to help you out with nothing. They didn't help out the people of Katrina when it was a hurricane. They could care less. And the same people voted for these people to help us out with our health insurance. Bad idea. And the same people are going to believe them about all this crap that's been going on for 18 months. Really bad idea. So take the two sides of the coin.
Right. Right.
Sorry. Rant.
No. Hey, Bryan, I wanted to ask you real quick. What do you think about Atlantis, man? I want to cover that real quick. That could be our closing, topic.
Sure. Not a problem. Yeah. I won't kill everybody with it. But I had to take philosophy and and Plato and Aristotle and all this stuff in school. And some of it's interesting. A lot of it is because my opinion is they had so much free time that they could spend years thinking about something, question. But Plato described Atlantis, and he described it, in pretty good detail, like measurement wise and stuff, 3 concentric rings, and there was canals and all this stuff. And then a lot of free form, the Atlanteans were kind of like humans, but much bigger and taller. And they talked about DNA, and double helixes have been found in relationship to Atlantis. Now that's super duper type of technology. The double helix was only recent. We just completed the entire sequence of DNA, which is a double helix. Okay. And it's been decades when we discovered it. So they're talking about DNA back when Plato was around, right? And he's talking about the age of records, and then something happens, and there's fire and brimstone and earthquakes, and the earth shakes, and people are dying, and it goes away. Does it sink to the sea? What happens to it, right? So everybody's always thought that it was a volcano, right, or a volcanic eruption, like they did Pompeii. Pompeii was, you get the volcano erupts, right? Poison hot ash goes on everybody. They freeze, in the same position, like like Han Solo. Han Solo in Star Wars, like the carbon, whatever carbonate, and then they start breaking these things down, and but they can't find the culture. They can never pinpoint the place where Atlantis was, this mecca of knowledge and wealth and science and health and whatever, right? And what's very interesting is that some people put it at point A, near Sardinia. Some people put it near I think this is a part over near Greece. There's a certain area there. Other people have said that it was in other locations that are totally far away from that area. All these areas, they went to different locations. And what I'm going to say is, and I've been like really mulling this over, and I can't prove it. So my theory, my hypothesis is that Atlantis did exist, that there were these individuals that were significantly smarter than everybody. Right. And I think they were doing interbreeding and experimentation. And I think it went a little bit too crazy, to the point where they stepped over the boundaries that they probably had in mind, where they could not push. And they literally were recalled and said, nope, we got to get rid of this. We got to clean this out and start fresh. And what happened was Atlantis itself. So you had a center mecca, then you had a ring, the canals, then a ring, then another ring. So 3 rings, right? And it's near water. And I'm thinking, what's the largest part of this planet is bodies of water. Water makes up more of this planet than anything else. Right. Why could that not? My theory is Atlantis is, or was, what they would call a UFO, or a submersible UFO. And it came to the surface, and they were there. They went out to do sampling, and their people went out, and it wasn't as crowded. And then people started finding like, oh, there's these weird people there, but they have magic, and they do healings, and they help people out. And they started teaching writing, and seeding this planet that way. And when things got a little crazy, what happened? The craft fires up, shakes violently, lots of flames, lots of ash, sinks, goes to the bottom. It doesn't sink, it submerges, and then it appears elsewhere. And it does the same thing elsewhere. That's why you're having so many different spots where people are pointing to Atlantis.
Oh,
because this craft, Atlantis, is moving from point A to point B. That gets messed up, point C. So their experiment, or why they were interacting or intermingling with individuals on this planet, they kept messing up. So they have to, or getting caught doing it or whatever, and it was over. So that's my theory. Atlantis existed. It was an alien species, an alien craft, and it either submerged and it'll rise back up again and do the same thing, or it finally took off and went to space and is where it is right now.
Wow. Damn, that's crazy, dude. I like that. I like that hypothesis. Hey, one of the guys was asking Anthony Metcalf. I just didn't want to let that question go unanswered. Yeah, and it's funny. It's a funny one too. He said, "What did you think about Bigfoot, Finding Bigfoot?" The show Finding Bigfoot on History Channel.
Finding Bigfoot.
Yeah, well, they never find them.
That's with the guys from the BFRO, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I give Matt Moneymaker credit because he's the one that started the BFRO, and he really kind of organized it and started plotting the information. But I think everybody there is very dramatic. And they never do find Bigfoot. I think the better option was actually, and I know him because I'm part of his group, but Expedition Bigfoot was much better than that, because at least they took the sighting information, they put it into a computer and algorithms, and they kind of got a predictability chart of where this thing would be, and they were right about it for the most part. All in all, it's an interesting subject, and it's entertaining. Something that I'm always interested in, on the same vein as that, and talking about TV, is I've always loved Skinwalker Ranch, and Al and I, when we come back, if you get us back, Al and I will talk to you about how we opened the portal. In New York State, and we'll show you. We'll show you the video of it.
I'm gonna have to start early with both of y'all on there, man, because we're gonna be.
Oh my God,
we're gonna be on at least 2-3 hours, man. Wow.
I think we're gonna need some sambuca and some cannolis and something, big bit, but man. They're all entertaining to a certain degree. I know some of these people personally. And you got to understand, when even though if you're an investigator and you see, like I've done TV too, it's it's television, and there's a lot of reality to it. But because it's television, you're trying to tell the story of what you did. So there's some retake. Your camera's not always going 24/7. So you may have to retake that scene and make, like, dude, run,
Right.
And people will say, oh, it's all fake. They made it up. And it's like, no, we're just trying to capture the scene because Joe didn't have the camera running when you were there. So we're going to remake it, So there's a gray area in between that works. But as long as you have fun with it, it's great. I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, man, it's been great. It's been great having you on here, Bryan.
Thank you for having me on.
Man. And I think we're coming to that closing point, tonight. And I'm thinking we're gonna have to do at least a part 2, man. If not a part 3, you know what I mean? Because wow, I mean, it's just so much information that you have, and that I know that you know, but. We just can't cover it all like in one show,
It's not a problem. I'm more than happy to come back. I love talking about the subject. My wife does it. Al and I both love talking about it. we'll always get somebody to start talking about stupid things and whatever. But
I think our next one it'll be both of y'all on here, man. That way we can,
that'd be great.
Some of that, and then later on we can come back to a part 2, just you, and part 2 with Al too.
No, not a problem. Not a problem.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Hey,
did you have any closing? Sure. Yeah, you're welcome, man. You're absolutely welcome. Did you have any closing comments or statements or promotions or anything like that you might be having coming up or anything?
Well, I've been in a 30-day timeout on Facebook because
that's right. Yeah, you told me.
And I like to tell people that you should like freedom too.
Yeah.
But
so
pay back the bitch, Santa Riga. But other than that, I do Inside the Goblin Universe with Ronald the Cryptid Guru Murphy. I do my own show, Nobo Booming, Nobody But Me. All of it can be found on Podbean. So Inside the Goblin Universe.podbean.com or podcast catchers. We have YouTube pages. I'm writing a couple of books right now, one with Ron Murphy, a couple for myself, and I'm trying to get Al to write a book with me, but that's like pulling teeth because we're more into the investigative side of everything. But you can find me every place, Facebook.
Yes.
I'll answer the tweets and the texts and everything, and I'm just looking for answers like everybody else here, and
right, everybody. Yeah.
Look, no theory is stupid or dumb. And no question is stupid or dumb. You got to find out. And if I'll leave you with this: if anybody is called an expert, if anybody says I'm an expert, run. If you meet somebody that says, "Well, he's an expert," run. No experts in this field.
Right.
There are people that have more experience than you, right?
Yes.
They're no experts.
More knowledge, more experience, but not experts. Not
just going to throw that out there. I'm not an expert.
Yeah, you're right.
I've got a lot of years of experience, a lot of my own personal experience mixed into that.
Right.
And I just want the information just like you guys do. So
right, exactly.
Is what
hey,
it is.
What about your videos that I watched the other day when I what was it, Spaced Out Radio, right? The interviews that you did?
Yeah.
They're only radio, there's no camera or anything. Just radio, but it's awesome. I like them. I listened to 2 of them. I think there's more, but I listened to 2 of them. They were like an hour long, and they were great, man.
It's no discredit to you whatsoever. But I'm friends with Dave Scott. He is the guy that started and the owner of Spaced Out Radio, SOR. He does it every night of the week. On the East Coast, it's from 12 midnight to 3 in the morning. On the West Coast, it's 9 to 12. He has one of the best shows ever. And if you really like the subject matter and you really want to know some stuff, I beg you to go look at him. I hooked him up. I helped him set up live streaming like this with StreamYard. He does it now with video. So check it out. And he has some of the greatest guests ever. And he's a great guy. You can join the chat every night and ask questions. And it's an awesome show. I'm not just playing it because I'm a friend of. It really is. It's the coast to coast of Canada, and it's hosted by Dave Scott.
Okay.
Go check it out.
Okay, cool. Hey, and lastly, I wanted to ask you about the Bronxville Paranormal Society. That you said you do that like every month, once a month, with Al Sanariga. How do people get into that? To listen to
it's really simple. Join. If you go to the Bronxville Paranormal Society group on Facebook and page, join it. Hit the join. And Al and I always do. See, we used to do a live meeting downstate and upstate. So in the start of the month, we would be in Yonkers, New York. And at the end of the month, we'd go up to Red Hook, New York. And we would have people and experiences there. And we'd talk about, all this stuff. And because of COVID, we couldn't do it. But once I started live streaming, we started doing it live stream because, again, we want people to come on. We want interactions. We want questions. And that's what we want to do. So we do that once a month, and I've missed it. Of course, I had a 7-day suspension on Facebook because I publish this. I can publish everything. I can publish YouTube or YouTube page or Facebook, Twitch, whatever. But I'd like to do it all at once because I think there's a lot more people that interact on Facebook than on YouTube right now.
Right.
So that's why I do it. But
there is.
Yeah. So I had a 7-day suspension. I came back. I was good for about 3 days, and then I posted something.
That's happened to me before
about
too.
vaccinations from a virologist, and they banned me for 30 days.
Oh man, yeah.
So, you know, that's what it is. But actually, coming up on this month, I think it's the 20th or 21st. I don't remember the date. Al and I are going to be doing a live stream with it's the Bronxville Paranormal Society in cooperation with the New York State UFO Project, in cooperation with the New York State Sasquatch Organization, in cooperation with the North American Dogman Project, New York State chapter, and we're going to talk about all these different things that are coming up. I mean, our conversation, I wish I recorded every one of our conversations are awesome. We should record each one of them. But
hey, well, hopefully y'all can put it on the Bronxville Paranormal Society, post it on there. That way we can share it. You know, like me and Tom and B Moss, and you know what I mean. We can share it on our groups. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So
you know, anything you want to
check
share,
y'all out.
Share it definitely. You're all invited to. You, Tom, B, everybody. You know, I want you guys to share your work because you guys are doing good stuff, and I appreciate what you do, and I think other people would appreciate it too. So keep up the good work.
Definitely. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Thank you for your kind words. And with this, I guess we'll go ahead and call it a night then, Brian. And until next time we meet, man, hopefully it'll be me, you, and Al. Or just me and you if Al can't do it for some reason or whatever. Then me and you for part 2. How about that, buddy? Sound
That'd be great. Either or.
Okay. All right, man. All right, brother.
Everybody.
Well, I'll see you, man. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for showing up tonight. Thank you very much. We are out of here tonight, man. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. Thank you, everybody, for showing up, and who showed up, and who showed up late, because I'm seeing a couple of people on there now. But all right, see y'all next time, guys. Peace out. Bye. Bye, everybody. Later, Brian.
Later.